everybody. Good evening, Gotham, Metropolis, Emerald City, Xanadu, Babylon, to the ISS, and the rest of you. I'm going to do this one for giggles and grins because I want to hear the difference. Okie dokie. Says I'm connected. Restart the volume. There we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gotham, Metropolis, Emerald City, Xanadu, Babylon, to the ISS, and the rest of you. It is 1 a.m. on the East Coast, New York City. It is 9 a.m. in Moscow. It is 3 p.m. in Tokyo. And it is 10 p.m. in the Hollywood Hills of Southern California. Good evening, Gotham. Headlines ending 3/23, 28, 29 days into the original Russian military maneuvers, Russian military exercises that turned into an invasion, which many on every party aisle are talking about war. Nobody seems to be declaring it. Shouts and arguments and demands of an unjust war and an illegal war. I deliberately put a photograph for the start of tonight's show. Normally it's been a map or stats and whatnot of the conflict in the region known as Ukraine. But the White House and President Biden have been touting the global leadership that Joe Biden is going to bring to the table. And there he is from inside. Instead of Nixon getting on, Marie, no, we're going to get the camera inside, and he's going to come walking up the steps, just in the grass, because we don't want him on the steps and to trip. The problem is the leaves on the trees opposite the White House. When you Google Earth right now, why don't you go look at the status of the trees? Why would you use a photograph from another time? That's a legitimate. I'm not saying the photo's fake. It's Joe Biden. He's walking across from the White House in the background. He's approaching what should be Marine One. It really begs the question, why would you be so announcing and the importance and the significance of this, emergency global summit in Brussels? The Doomsday plane has decided to accompany Air Force One. This is not uncommon. It is, and again, I use the older term looking glass. Again, Air Force One is flying with a dummy. I don't mean President Biden. I mean it's other aircraft, most likely also being used for logistics and transport of the complement of materials and vehicles and armaments that Biden and his detail, his security detail, and the staff that's accompanying him with are going to use. But the Doomsday plane. Now, how many of those? Because again, why build one if you're the government when you can have two? Well, we have Air Force One, and Air Force One's double. It's dummy. It's diversion. It's a diversionary aircraft. Looks just like it, smells just like it, sounds just like it. That's not Air Force. I mean, it is, but by designation, Air Force One is because POTUS is on the plane. Because what happens in a command situation, if in the event of, in the original blueprint of a thermonuclear war in exchange between superpowers, whether it was the Soviet Union and the United States, or the United States and China, or a combination, or India, or any other superpower. And the great false flag in the movies, hypothetically, was the Russians launching a real attack, but it tricked the computers. Yeah, wait, whoa. Why did Russia just shoot on Turkey? Turkey's a NATO power. The moment we detect, wait a minute. How did we miss the satellite launch? How did we miss the doors opening, the satellite launch, the missile launch? All right, well, it just broke airspace. I mean, it's making noise in the atmosphere. We got it. Oh, it just blew up Turkey or a part of Turkey. Well, that then triggers the computers to start behaving. And by dawn's early light, The Mr. President, by now you may have known that the Russian missile is rogue. It was not us. Now here is your problem, Mr. President. You can retaliate, and yes, and we know. However, if you just want to destroy, now we will then come and meet at the table, and the whole situation of the command chain breaks down. The president is believed to be dead. You gotta love Darren McGavin. Secretary of the Interior now becomes POTUS and is transported onto Looking Glass, the Doomsday plane, Air Force, whichever, because they're just bringing him onto the plane. But it's now codenamed because the president is on board. So there are multiple Doomsday planes. There are multiple Air Force Ones. There are multiple Marine ones. Again, old school. I still call it HMX1. Can't call it that. It's Marine One. Um, Not the typical Marine one that I grew up with as a kid, however. So we have those headlines going on. Yeah, but there's some really good ones. President Zelensky is now very active on social media. He's probably the first world leader that might understand the true ability to manipulate everything from now a perimeter of armed guards that didn't seem to move and a very slow zoom in on President. Highly produced video again from the cobblestones and the buildings and his. I did have to bust out of these uniforms. It's not going to work. I can't be running all over the state and then have to come home to put on a goofy shirt with medals on it. And I did get the uniform. There is no way in hell it's going to be 80 degrees later this week, which means all the air conditioners have to run and all that. No, I'm not going to sit in a uniform in the spring and summer to try and go through these headlines with you. And I say spring and summer because that's the reality. It's no less than another 30 days. President Zelensky, in these highly produced videos, says he's working with the Vatican to bring Pope Francis to the Ukraine. All right. I'm going to need a real Coca-Cola. I have to ration them now, of course. There's a lot of bad news when it comes to the rationing and all the other nonsense. Oh, come to daddy. Oh, breakfast of champions. Oh, thank you, God. Pope Francis. You know, I remember Bad Idea Jeans on the Saturday Night Live of the 90s. Or was it the late 80s? Kevin Nealon, Dennis Miller. Could be Bad Idea Jeans might be the late 80s, but I believe it's the early 90s. Cause yeah, I'm with Michelle back then, and it's the early 90s. Cause I haven't Carnival is 93. So it's 90, 91, 91, 92. Bad Idea Jeans. Yeah, bad. The concerns if Joe Biden is going to go to Kiev, as a largely symbolic gesture, bringing the world together. Yeah, well, the sanctions aren't working, and you're having your little meeting, and a lot of people are starting to see through it. And Putin is not a madman. Vladimir Putin has announced that, you know what? Screw this. Let's just now go through all of these headlines ending 3/23/2022. I'm going to go in reverse order just in case you've already seen today's earlier update. I did it for a specific reason. Air Force One wheels up, wheels down. What was going on domestically and internationally without Ukraine? So here's the update of the Ukrainian minutes as of 10:35 p.m. Mountain Time, 3/23/2022. Russia has now blocked Google News, accusing Google News of providing fake news and misinformation regarding the war in Ukraine. President Zelensky, also in another highly produced social media video is calling now for millions of people around the world to publicly, openly protest. Um, Vladimir Putin earlier this evening, late this afternoon, has announced, the media says is demanding. No, he's maybe, okay, you know what, you'll keep it up. You wish to buy Russian oil. You are an unfriendly nation. Brilliant. You will buy our oil in rubles. Stand by for your digital currency. If nothing else now, a two-tiered civil war on an international level of who uses what money here and who uses what money there. Other calls for removing the United States from the petrodollar and a basket of currencies. And again, there is growing concern regarding President Obama's signing an executive order looking into digital currency, because a centralized currency will enslave everyone using it. A system will set up and be designed as to what you can and can't spend. Okay, you're right. Shouldn't concern you yet. Nearly 400 companies now, as of 10:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 3/23/2022, have suspended all operations in the former Soviet Union, the country known as Russia. Problem is, a couple haven't. The biggie. I mean, the one thing is funny is Renault, the car manufacturer. They have a plant in Moscow. Boy, they have to shut it down. It employs 45,000 people. Not just the plant in Moscow. Renault operations in Russia is employing 45,000 people. There might be a little problem there. You just might want. Have you seen the Russian cars? Just saying. The joke this evening in the comedic circles is Nestle. Nestle Foods. Nestle has announced earlier today that they are, their phrasing was very specific. Forgive me in letting me double check my notes. Is suspending all of its products in Russia until further notice. Nestle Foods. Nestle, and I joked, I said Swiss Miss. It's not, it's Nesquik. But Nestle, from water to your Hot Pockets to dog food to candy, Nestle Foods is a major supplier of food to Russia. This can't get good anytime quick. In the Ukraine, in excellent news, the Ukrainians seem to be retaking Russian positions previously held in Ukraine. However, intelligence photos and drone surveillance footage and the satellite footage is now suggesting something that Scooter Damas only told you about in the first 96 hours. They will progress to the river and then they hold. Well, regardless of the supply chain issues and the convoys, whether they're moving or not, and how many have actually died or not, the satellites and the drones, as well as on the ground footage, is showing us a lot more. See, we can't verify that footage. It's the laptop. We can't verify. Well, there's too many of them. The Soviets are now bunkering in. They're hunkering in. They're digging in. They're not going anywhere. Do they need to? I know on a statistical level, based on either 100,000 or 200,000 soldiers, you lose 10,000 and you wound 16,000. That's a horrific price to pay. But if this is to march us towards another step towards, a new world order, not a liberal world order, but a good world order, what? Do you feel like the news media is pushing Ukraine like they are winning? Do I need to reread that? How did I do that? Do I feel like the news media is pushing Ukraine like they are winning? No, they want to, again, the media only has one job. That is to make everyone they talk about, report about, they're the victim. And how, through being a victim, they become the hero. So I don't know how to work this chat room thingy. This may be a bad idea as well. Scooter, you really got sunburned. Yes, fourth generation Irish thoroughbreds are not allowed in the sunlight. Black Batman. Good evening, Gotham. How are things in Gotham? Are you up on your perch like a gargoyle looking down over Gotham, making sure everyone is safe? Please say it. We like Bat. I don't know which Bat. I'm still the Adam West Batman. Michael Keaton wasn't the very voice. But I'm the Adam West Batman. Back to the news. Forgive me, I'm down and I don't see the chats. Sorry, we said we were going to go last to first. And so in the foreign companies, Nestle Foods announcing they are now suspending its products in Russia. Renault car is, I'm bad. Black Batman is trying to save the city. Well done. Keep up the good work. You're best. Losers do their best. Winners go home and prom queen. Oh, try. There is no try. There's only do. I should work on my Yoda. The Russian army, and this correspondence is now not verified because the Pentagon isn't saying it. But, there's too many Google translators available. And I'm not talking about, all. By the way, in the 21st century, why do we have the closed captioning and the over and the crying and the victim? What is that? The Russian military is so ill prepared for this mission. A, because they weren't told. You guys are going to go out there and play around we'll tell you when to come home. Don't come home. Go to Kiev. So the stories of the looting and the rape, robbing, and pillaging. Yeah, it's war. War is brutal. Give me your cell phone. The Russian army commanders were calling each other using Ukrainian cell phones they were confiscating. Bad idea. They spy on everything you say on your cell phone. Ukrainian intelligence is scanning everything. And you idiots are super furious anxiety. Scooter is back. No, I'm out on a work release program. They have been communicating and giving orders in the field because they didn't have a lot of orders to begin with now after almost 30 days. They have been using confiscated cell phones and talking to each other. Who is sold? Oh my goodness! Well, I'm sold. I can't. I got to stay on these headlines. We can at the end. I'll ask for all of you to chat, and this is only going to go about 12 more minutes, and I'll answer all your questions if I miss. But I want to do. I don't have to. I want to read through these for you. So again, there's a lot of communication that is showing that South Korea, Josh. Oh my God, we may have to have an international correspondent, Joshua Card from South Korea. Is that you, buddy? My friend, if it is, contact me on Messenger. When I'm done with this, we can communicate. I would love to chat with you. But the Russian army, a lot of what they're talking about has been scanned, digitized, and is now on the internet for you to listen to. And how they're talking, and indeed, superfluous anxiety. It is Joshua Card from South Korea, our old correspondent on the Scooter McGee show. He is no longer in South Korea. Josh, brief me here at the end of this. Let me go through these. Hang on for about 10 minutes in the chat room, and I'll answer, and we can talk there really quickly. The Russian army. Okay. Katanji. Not funny. Katanji Jackson Brown is not doing well in the confirmation hearings, and yet it appears she's going to get confirmed. soft on crime, soft on pedophiles. And when you ask her, you're a woman. Yeah. What is a woman? I don't know. I'm not a biologist. Oh, dear Mother Mary Joseph. I see no. What the hell's going on? Worldwide reports now confirm that Boeing commercial airline jet that was seen nosediving into the ground, the black box was recovered, but authorities are saying that the black box is badly damaged. So stand by. We'll see how they get out of this one. And the only reason any of that got out was because video emerged of what the hell was that? Was a missile. That was a commercial airliner. So we'll see what they say about that. Former Secretary of State, not the pantsuit I love to hate, the first one, Madeleine Albright, dead at the age of, I believe, 84. She had been battling cancer, and she is now room temperature. The former Secretary of State and pantsuit I'll forever hate, Hillary Rodham Clinton, because everybody went to Europe, she had to tell the world she tested positive for COVID. Thank you on Twitter. And it's also concerning now how many people they got sick and then they just begged for, can we please just get this so we can go back to work? And then they got it. And then you need a booster. And we got that. You got your paperwork, And then there were all of these, well, rare breakthrough cases. Remember those? It seems now more people who've been given the are actually getting, wait a minute. We really should see that CDC data that the New York Times reported they withheld regarding the efficacy rating, on the 18 to 49 group of, participants. But Ketanji Jackson Brown, Ketanji, is not doing well, but she's going to get the robe. And yet Republican Ben Sasse says, you will most likely be confirmed. He said that in the hearings. Yeah, they're going to. Why? Because we got to pack the courts. We got to change Roe v. Wade. We got to, all the things they got to do. They've got to change the rules. They're calling for bipartisanship when it comes to the swift confirmation process. So we'll see how this ends. New sanctions should be announced here at the emergency NATO summit. Vladimir Putin also announcing sanctions now on hundreds of Russian law. Vladimir Putin. That is a Freudian slip. President Biden is preparing sanctions and will be announcing those at the global summit. And these sanctions are designed to go after the hundreds of Russian lawmakers. The Western media claiming that the COVID BA2 variant, we may see a surge in the next week. We don't know yet, but we wanted to get that out there to let you know. Even the Pentagon now is confirming, as I was suggesting 2 weeks ago, that if the initial data in the first 14 days is true, my initial accounts were 5,000 dead. No, and I suggested 8 to 10% of the Russian military may have been affected by Sun Tzu, the art of war and guerrilla warfare, and the Ukrainian army. The Pentagon now reporting Scooter Damas was not full of approximately 10% of the Russian army, significant losses. To the group in the region, they lost about 10%. So which number do you want to believe? 100,000 troops, 150,000 troops, 180,000 troops, or 200. I use 200 for the rough scale. And at the rough scale, based on, and they're talking blown up truck and a dead soldier. The Russians don't count wounded as patch them up and get them back in the field. Sissy Americans. Nuclear weapons still have not been ruled out. On CNN, Christiane Amanpour having an interview with Dmitry Peskov. inside Russia there. And again, DJs, this is an obnoxious story. The head of Goldman Sachs is going to go out on international tours starting in the United States. He's going to spin and beat mix for the kids. The media just thinks it's really cool, that the head of Goldman Sachs, so he's so busy and focused on Wall Street that he has a hobby like that he can show to the kids, that Keynesian economics and Ponzi schemes aren't necessarily a bad thing. Um, it is National Puppy Day, 3/23/2022. So if you have any good recipes for puppies, shoot those to me at scootermcgee.com. Um, the initial accounts of refugees, we could be looking at anywhere from 2.5 to 6.5 million refugees. Well, now that we're at the 2.5 mark, we are going to hit 10 million refugees before Easter. We'll see if I'm right. I pray to Christ I'm wrong. That's it. Sanctions, BA2, Goldman Sachs, Happy Puppy Day. I'm really not going to get into the Disney stuff. It's a little sicker and twisteder than I ever thought Disney could get. Maybe tomorrow. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. How do I see the chat room in here? There we go. So, Batman, be well, be safe. Josh, my friend, I can't wait to hear from you. How are you? Where are you? Yada, yada, yada. You can find me on the World Wide Web here every night, 1 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Moscow, 3 p.m. Tokyo, and 10 p.m. Pacific time. This project will continue through March 30th. I thank all of you who are reaching out to me on social media. All of the links you can find at scootermcgee.com now. So all the headlines for the Twitter, click that link. You're on the Facebook, you want to talk to me, click that link. Want to support the show, click the Patreon page. And be well, be safe, live long and prosper. And I will see all of you. I may, just depending upon the news tomorrow, I may do another live update because the monkey business, now that it's morning in Ukraine, stand by for all the meetings and the pageantry and the nonsense. Chopper 5 reports a backup of Josh, can't wait to talk to you. But so I'll see all of you in 24, but I may do another one in the afternoon just so I can sneak in on the East Coast news feed. Hey, it's 5:45 on the East Coast. Let's pop in and see what was going on in the news of the day. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to figure out how to go live at 11 p.m. I'm just not going to be here. So I'm going to take all of this and throw it in the car and I'll figure it out. I could be out in the parking lot. I may have to go to I can go to a friend's nightclub. So you can't do it in the nightclub. All right, well then throw me in the beer cooler. I'll figure it out. Be well, everybody. Be safe. Be incredibly leery of these headlines. The same people who have misrepresented or misinformed or they didn't have all the intelligence. They didn't know it. It slipped through the cracks. See, those excuses are your own and you've run out of them. Understand the Soviet mentality. Understand the Soviet playbook. Stop the name calling. Boogeyman, madman, crazy. East German Stasi. Comrade. Soviet mentality. Organized criminal and the head of Mother Russia. That's who Vladimir Putin is. You may not like it. I don't give up what you like. You need to acknowledge your enemy. You have no fucking respect for yourself. How can you respect your enemy? Because you don't need to. Yeah, you do. You better have a serious respect for your enemy, especially since they're your international partners in peace and your trade deals. When you don't understand your enemy has already defeated you. The Western media knows that, by the way. It's very orchestrated in design what they're doing, pulling on all your heartstrings and showing the musicians in Ukraine while the people dig sandbags. Hey, you want to get out of your drum set and get down here and start shoveling, digging some? No, it's good for the narrative. We need to worry about the children and the elderly and the refugees. How about the tens of thousands, but it's 10,000 body bags. And if it was going to be 50, it was going to be 500. And if it was 500, it's 5,000. Jesus, on a popsicle stick. Wait a minute. If there's 150,000 in the field and this drags out, we could easily see casualty rates of anywhere of higher now to 20 and 30 and possibly 35% in conventional war. And these corkscrew and ice holes are talking about nuclear weapons. No, slow down. Not the big ones. The small ones. Do you remember during the Cold War when the Berlin Wall fell and the stories of the nuclear suitcases, the nuclear suitcase bombs, and how they got on the black market with the Russian mafia? Boy, isn't that a good story? Yeah. Never let the facts get in the way of a good one. Be well, Gotham. Be safe. Be kind to each other. Be leery. Be careful out there. Hate to sound like Michael Conrad on the Hill Street Blues. Hey, let's be careful out there. All right? From the dark side of the moon, I'm Scooter McGee. Again, we'll see all of you every night, 1 a.m. Eastern. Be well. Be safe. See you soon. See you in the funny papers and hopefully not in the obituaries.